Hi, Baylor School of Education. Thank you so much for joining us in another episode of our Education Career Pathways series, where we have invited professionals to share about their experience and how they got to where they are, so that you can just get a little bit more variety of what you can do with your education degree. So today I'm joined by Tiffani Johnson. Tiffani, thank you so much for joining us today. If you just want to kick us off by introducing yourself, what you currently do, and a little bit of your education background.
So thank you, Jessica, so much for having me here today. Again, Tiffani Johnson, and currently I am the Senior Director of Impact and Engagement at United Way of Waco, McLennan County. And I am a Baylor graduate. I do hold a Bachelor's of Education from the School of Education there at Baylor. And that was where I kind of got my start in the work that I'm doing.
Amazing. Can you talk to me a little bit more about why you chose to pursue an education degree?
Um, I can tell you that from a very early age, I knew that I would be working with children in some way and really wasn't certain exactly what my path was. And so after some time, I did feel a specific calling to working in vulnerable communities and schools in vulnerable communities. And so um, that was going to be what helped me to get into the door. And so I really thought education was going to be the way to go, at least for me, as a young person trying to figure out what I wanted to pursue. That was the start.
Amazing. And can you kind of share a little bit about some of the skills you learned from your education degree and how you use those in your everyday professional life now?
Oh my gosh. I think there's a lot to be said. First of all, it feels like that was a lifetime ago. So I did have to kind of clear the cobwebs a bit. Um, but what I will say is that one of the greatest lessons that I think that I've learned is the importance of differentiation. And what I mean is lessons that I learned in school and immediately saw how they transferred to the real world environment. So I have worked in Waco ISD schools. So when I set out to work in communities of need, I really got there and specifically set out to work in J.H. Hines Elementary, which, some years ago really had been struggling quite a bit. And I sought to work at that school at that time. I really felt that I could connect with children in East Waco, and the surrounding communities and the families there. So that work was really true to my heart. And back to the point of differentiation, I think there is something really key about being able to serve a person, a child, but a person, right? A little person in the way that they need to be served. So that was really important to me to understand that there is no cookie cutter approach. And I am adamant about that. And I feel the same way about my own children. I don't feel that when they're in a classroom that they should be treated like every other child because everyone needs something different. And so the ability to serve a person, giving them really what they need. And I would say, even in the work that I'm doing now, even though I'm no longer in the classroom, that is still a lesson that I carry forward. A lot of the work that I'm doing right now is regarding equity, and that's exactly what equity is, right? It is giving people what they need in order to be successful, not giving everyone the same thing because there's no way we're all going to be successful because we don't, if we're all getting the same thing, because we don't all need the same thing. So um, that is one thing that I would say is just probably something that really has lasted the test of time and has lasted beyond education and being in the classroom specifically. I can still see how that serves well in many different aspects of my work.
Yeah. Could you talk me through what maybe a day in the life of your current position looks like?
So the every day is not the same. And I love that. It, let's see. On any given day, I could be doing a number of things. What I have said many times that I love about being here in Waco is you really are proximate to community. And I mean that in a number of different ways. So I mean community residents, people are willing and ready to get out and really fight for things that are important for them in community. And so being able to get close to people who are inspired in those ways to make changes is in itself inspiring to me. But I also mean proximate to other people in the community. It is really pretty easy in a small town like this to get into meetings with city council members or neighborhood association leaders or people that are just doing grassroots work in the community. There really is that access. So I enjoy that part about my job, being able to really go out to different parts of the community and understand how we would like to work together. Ultimately, my job really is to discuss the hard issues and how can we work together as a community to combat those issues so that we can all thrive. Because we know, much like what I just said with equity and differentiation, we know that we as a full community, we will never see our full potential if any part of this community is not doing well. So we, in that same vein, have to really concentrate on those areas that need or have been overlooked. I don't want to say have a need, but they've been overlooked. And how do we pay more attention to those areas so that ultimately we can all as a community thrive? So every day looks different, but that's ultimately what I'm trying to get to in the conversations that I have with various people is how do we work to create a better community that really serves everyone?
Mm. And as our students are spending time in the Waco community, they spend a couple semesters in local classrooms. What would you encourage them to do to make the most of that experience?
Wow, great question. I would say really go out and seek different avenues to find out more about yourself. Um, Going into the classroom is part of the work, right? But going into community, whether it's volunteering, whether it's mentoring, you find a mentor relationship, um, but really spending the time to think about what you are learning and how does that apply to what you want to achieve later in life. You may find that you're right on target, or you may find that wait, maybe maybe this isn't really the avenue that I want to go. Maybe there's something else that I want to do based on these experiences that I've been able to be a part of, again through volunteering or whatever other avenues are available. But just really going out and realizing that during these years while you are seeking higher education, you should also be kind of seeking a higher vision of yourself to understand where you're going. And I think you do that in the classroom, but I also think that you do that outside of the classroom. So spending as much time to get to know who you are out outside of the classroom as well. I think it's key to understand what fits and what works for you and where you can potentially go.
Mm. Yeah, that's awesome. Are there any like additional trainings or certifications or maybe graduate programs that you have considered or would recommend for someone who wants to kind of follow what you're doing?
Well, I will tell you this. I have had a mixed career, and I say all who wander are not lost. I love everything that I've been a part of. So I've had a career in education. I've also had a career in public health.
Mm.
And I am connected to the work of the Masters in Public Health program. So I worked with a lot of people that have come out of that program. And I've spent, as I said, some time in public health at our local health department. So I've also thought that those are great programs. And um, have seen a lot of people go from education degrees actually to public health. And not that I'm making that move for anyone, or recommendation for anyone. I have seen a lot of great people in my field come from public health and also social work as well. So I think that education is absolutely a great foundational start to your career. I think ultimately, one thing I will say is this: I found that when I was in the classroom having some students come in, um, I think it was quite an eye-opening experience to be in a classroom versus what you're learning of, day to day in your coursework. But being in the classroom is a whole nother thing, right? When you have 25 or so, hopefully not too many more, but 25 or so children in front of you, who all again have these different needs, they have different backgrounds and different experiences. Um, I think it is vital, vital, vital to even um, make the most of your internships, really dive deep into any, whether it's some type of assistantship or anything like that, dive deeply into those experiences and really take them for what they're worth, because those are the real experiences. I think there is kind of this fallacy or fantasy, maybe I should say, that you get into a classroom and it's just going to be great, and I'm going to motivate all of them, and they're going to want to learn, and I'm going to change 25 lives every day. And you get in there, and to be honest, it can be a different story. It can be really, really hard. One thing that I say often is that I'm a Marine. I'm a former Marine, and I would still say being a teacher is 10 times harder than that ever was. We like to think that the military members are pretty tough, right? But education is tough. You're not only putting on the hat of an educator, but you can also put on the hat of a social worker, psychologist, mom, dad, so there are many hats that you wear in that classroom, and you have to be prepared for that. I will tell you that the first time I was interviewed for a position in an elementary school. Actually, it was the one that I got at Hines. Um, what I was told by the administrator at that time was, "This is mission work," and I didn't know what he was talking about. And he said, "It will really stretch you spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally," and he's right. And I just think the reason why I say this to you now is because I think it's so important to know walking in that that is the case. All of those things are absolutely true, from some of your more high need schools to even, some of your more affluent school districts. Still, there's quite a pull on the educator to there's just excuse me, such a stretch. Um, and you really have to be able to serve. And it truly is a calling. I know that we've heard people say that, but it really is, because it's something that you really should enjoy, um, because ultimately the students deserve it, whether it be, younger children or older children in secondary, they deserve that. Um, Someone's going to come in every day and give it their all. And so I go back to saying that the importance of making the most of those internship experiences to see, is this really a good fit? And some will find out, oh, this is it. I'm inspired, and I absolutely feel like I have the tools, from my previous life experiences as well as my educational experiences. I have the ability to ability to go in and make a difference. And that's great. That is amazing. And that's what we need. And there'll be some people that find that, oh my gosh, I this is quite more challenging than I ever imagined. And that's okay too. And just recognizing what's best for you as an individual, what's best for students might be to do something different. And that's okay. Um, but I think there's so many tools that you'll take from your educational experience, and even any volunteering internship, any of those kinds of experiences that are connected to the education program, that you can take on to do so many different things. So I just advise people to think really deeply about the decision. Um, don't take it for granted, because to me, again, with education, you're serving people, and you just want to serve people well, and do it to your best of the ability.
that's beautiful. One, thank you so much for your service too. Um, uh,
Happy to do it.
as a from one Baylor grad to some Baylor students, is there anything that you would like to leave them with as they're pursuing their education degree at Baylor?
I would say don't take 1 minute for granted. A lot of times we're just trying to get through the coursework and we just want to graduate. And I get that. But don't take any course for granted. There are some that maybe aren't your favorite, but, they all make a difference. And really just, if at all possible, grab every single experience and every moment um, of the coursework ahead and all of the experiences, and really allow them to kind of fill up your jar so that you can be just this well versed, well experienced, uh, just a person that is well grounded in what they want to do. And embracing all those experiences really allows you to do that, I think. So hang in there and work hard and enjoy the experience, because I think that you'll be grateful for it on the other side of things.
Yeah, that's some great advice. Thank you so much, Tiffany, for your time today. We really appreciate learning from your wisdom and hearing a successful Baylor graduate story. It's really encouraging.
Yes, absolutely. Happy to do it. Happy to encourage. Happy that I was able to share with you all today. Thank you for asking. This is great work that you all are doing, and I think it's really going to motivate some people.
Thank you. Well, Baylor students, I hope you enjoyed our conversation today, and I hope that you check out the rest of the videos in the Education Career Pathways series. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and we'd love to connect you with some more resources about what you can do with your education degree.